Aloha, Rippers. Good to see you. Hope you guys are having some good times, getting out there, getting the things done, right? You know, we talked about it. Anyway, I wanted to share a little something with you. I'm sitting down taking a break, though, which is something you all need to do if you're out there doing the things working hard. If it's cold where you're at, have yourself some nice hot coffee. Now, that's good stuff. Now, if it's hot where you're at, have yourself some nice cold ice water, right? And if you're old like Ripper here, have yourself both, right? I ain't gonna do that. Get it all over myself. That's just silly. Anyway, and a wise guy once told me, I asked him, why do you drink coffee all the time, even when it's 100 degrees out? And he said that it's nice when you're in the hot weather to get under some shade and have some nice hot coffee, and it actually helps cool you off. I don't know. I think it's still just darn hot, but it can't hurt. Anyway, as you guys know, most of the time I am fun-loving, positive, having a good time, and in fact, most all the time I'm that way because that's the way I believe we should be if we want to effectively do things. But there is a serious side. Somebody said the other day, well, I've never seen Rip talk so seriously all the time. In that interview I did with Homestead Oz. If you missed it, you got to go back and see it. From what I hear, a lot of people really enjoyed it and found that there was some really great discussion and content going on in there. So go back and check it out. And while you're there, tell Homestead Off just how awesome they are and give them a Ripper hello. Anyway, I wanted to read something to you because as you guys know, I share lots of stuff in chats and so forth like that because I do a lot of thinking and a lot of listening. Something I think that if we all did more, we would actually get along much better and be able to solve our problems that we have in front of us right now with the evil overlords. Anyway, I want to read you this because it got me thinking as I was reading it, and I thought that's something I shouldn't only share on my buddy Vlad Gruich's channel, which you should check out because he's all over anything that's current. And I always share in there, and I want to share it with you guys too. So I'm gonna read this to you a little bit because sometimes my memory's about as short as, well, Anyway, that's just joking. It ain't short, no way. Okay, so all of this stuff that's happening with us right now is pushing us towards an agenda that isn't ours, of course. It's an agenda of other people that want to control us, other people that want to control everything around us. They want to control and manipulate everything for their gain, not for ours. We're not number one in their thought process. If we were, well, they would come right out and say it. They would say, you know what, we care enough about you that we will be honest with you, and here's the terrible truth, if there is a terrible truth, or here's the wonderful truth, if there is a wonderful truth. But they don't. They keep that stuff from us. So remember that. They're always pushing an agenda, and the more we get to the point we can live and survive and thrive without the modern services and tools that are out there in our modern world, the less of this control that will affect us. Now, I'm not saying that you should just go right out and turn away from the modern world, right? I'm not saying that you should, get rid of your cell phone and stop using the internet and don't have Netflix or any of that kind of stuff. Because we all have to have a little bit of a release, as long as it's healthy release, okay? Now, excuse me. I'm not saying you have to get rid of that, but I'm saying while everything is here as what they call, what is that term they use? It is, just in time service, or just in time shipping, or just in time produce, or just in time meat. Whatever it is, electricity, water, it's all just in time. So while it's all just in time and at our fingertips, well, now is the time that we should be doing the things that we need to be doing to do without those things. See? Think about it. Next time you go and you pour yourself that nice cold glass of water, right? That came straight out the tap, right into your glass or through your refrigerator to make it nice and cold. How are you going to get that if that wasn't there? Everything. Think about everything. Coffee, right? that nice creamy coffee with mostly creamer. You know, I like a little coffee with my creamer. Well, anyway, how are you going to get that if it's gone? But just take one thing at a time. Don't overload yourself. Start with water. What are you going to do when the water stops? Because right now, while it's at your fingertips, just in time, right? Now's the time that you have the freedom to be able to figure out how to plan for when it's not just in time, when it doesn't make it to your fingertips. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? You're free right now. Real free. Even though the agenda's pushing against us, don't let that suck you in, because that will make you be inaction. It will depress you. It will make you worry, be fearful. Don't be any of those things. There's no reason to be, right? Because now is the time when you think about each one of those things. So when you start with water, well, how am I going to get myself water? And then how am I going to chill it, right? Come up with game plans. Come up with things you can do without, things you can't do without. Start with those especially. And think about ways that you're going to make it happen. And whether that's having a plan, if it's a plan, write it down. I love writing things down. Put it in a book or a binder, right? So that you know how to act when the time comes. Because when the time comes, it's going to come like this. And you might go like this. And you don't want to do that. So you can go right to the book and it'll snap you right out. Now, the other thing is you can build kits. Kits where you know where they're at, and then in little boxes or whatever you do, and you can go right to them. And you can say, look, water's out. Here we go. I've got a bin full of water, right? Or I got a catchment system. And you can keep growing on those things, but just do one at a time. And you'd be surprised that as you solve each one of those things, starting with the most important first, water, air, food, right? Things like that. Those kind of things, protection, you know, all the ones, beans, banded, bullets, however, everybody says it differently. Those are the ones you start with first. Figure out ways to come up with those things or plan for when they go out, like right now with meat, right? So if you can, and if you can't, save up, but maybe you should get a chest freezer, a small one, if you can find one, right? And then you can pack it full, but then you got to think about the next one. How am I going to keep that thing going? Well, you're going to need a nice small generator, right? Or a big generator. But the small ones are quieter and easier to hide and muffle the sound, right? You can make things that block it and whatnot too. Get yourself one of those so you can keep it running. Because a lot of these things they're going to hit us with are only going to be temporary. Why? Because they want to control us. They want to see how we react. Excuse me. So they don't want to SHTF us right now. They want to tickle us with small HSTF. Like they're just throwing little pooplets right at the fan, right? There's just pooplets that they know that are just going to clog up the fan for a minute. But then the fan will clear itself. And then they're going to see how we react to it, right? They're going to see, did it make us desperate enough to agree to less freedoms and more control? That's what I'm saying. So take some time to see what you can plan for and get ready for. And if you do it in little increments like that, see, it'll happen. And before long, when the issue does happen, right, you'll be ready for it. Now, let me just take a look at my notes here. Looking at the current things that have been taken from us. Fuel, power, now the meat, Microsoft, just recently, right? Internet. Things are having trouble. Things are going down. I'm not saying it's from any conspiracy. It could be natural. It doesn't matter. That's the point. See, it doesn't matter what's causing the event, right? Whether it's control from other people or it's natural. We need to be ready for it, right? Right. So, pay mindfulness to those. When those things come up, figure out, how will I deal without that? So that when the time comes that if it does go out for a longer period of time, well, it's no skin off your whatever, nose. That's right. Anyway, the other things, the positive to it. When you do these things and you get to the point where you have your kits made, right? And you've got your plans made and you've got yourself downsized and streamlined, which is something I'm working on right now. I have to admit, everybody is not perfect, including me. And I am getting more streamlined and getting less so that I can do more, right? So think about that. When you get to that place where you're streamlined and you can think and act quicker because you've got less here, less clutter, right? Think about that. You'll be able to react quickly and be able to act calmly, right? There'll be no pressure, right? And by your actions and your kindness, others will do the same because they will see it. You won't even have to convince them. They'll see it and start thinking about it. You can do simple things like just they go, "What are you doing this weekend?" "Well, I'm packaging up some rice and beans and things like that." "Why?" "Well, just in case I have some food set aside and things like that." It's a good idea. I mean, you may have noticed lately, but meat prices are heading up and food's getting expensive. And if I can put it away now, well, I won't have to pay those prices later, right? I'll be able to stove it off a little bit, right? If they see you doing it, your actions, they'll be like, "Wow, he's not just talking about it, he's doing it." So they'll do it. And they'll start coming to you to talk about things like that on their own, right? And with that, you'll build relationships. Because that's some of the important things in life is relationships and transformation. And there's a lot of ways to look at that. You build relationships, which I like to think of as community, right? And the bigger that community is that's doing the things that we all are doing, well, when the time comes that other people are panicking, we'll have a bigger community to help control that and keep and help as much as we can and keep ourselves safe as well, right? Right. And you'll be surprised at how fast that can spread if you do it beforehand, right? So, that being said, you start building these relationships and you start transforming people by your actions, right? Your kindness, right? Then it's not coming from a place of cuckoo. It's coming from a place of compassion. See? And understanding and mutual respect for all, even if you don't see eye to eye. And preparedness. And getting ready for anything. It could just be a bad storm. It could be a car wreck. You could be stuck in the woods, right? Or it could be somebody that needs help. Your kids, your parents, a friend, a neighbor, a stranger, right? And every time you're ready and prepared, you influence another person to do the same. Think about that. When you help somebody in their worst possible moment, do you think that transforms them? I think it does. I think it goes and passes on. They may not realize it sometimes, and some of them might. But it definitely gets heard. So, you guys, be safe, be secure, always be aware of your surroundings, and be getting ready and prepared for anything that may come our way. Right? Start by thinking about what you can't live without and what you'll do when you have to. Anyway, much love and prayers to y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Adios and aloha.